The best person to advise you is you. I have a lot of people who come to me for advice, and over the years I've advised a lot of people, thousands of people, but I've just come to realize that the best person to advise yourself is you. I was really inspired when I read one of the literatures of a man called Jonathan Edwards, which was titled Resolutions and Advice to Young Converts. And when he wrote this book, he was just about 19 years old. He wrote these resolutions after completing his high school and ministerial training. I mean, he was in a transition, from his education, and he was transiting to living the real life. He was going into the real world. One of the things he penned down was the kind of person he wanted to be and the way in which he wanted to live his life. This lifestyle typified his entire career, and he took his pen and in quiet moments from his busy schedule wrote guidelines and the systems of checks and balances he would use to chart his life. Now, these resolutions covered every area of his life, including his relationships, his conversations, his desires, his activities, and his spirituality, of course. He used this opportunity to advise himself. I pondered when I got to that point, and I said, wow, so really the best person to advise oneself is yourself. These resolutions that this young man put together helped him to bring every area of his life under control and the lordship of Christ. And I believe that if you do the same, that you will be able to do that and replicate same in your own life. He was considered to be one of the greatest and most influential American philosophers and theologians. He played a very significant role in the religious revival known as the Great Awakening. And this awakening revolutionized the Protestant religion in Europe and British America during the mid-18th century. He was accepted into Yale College when he was just 13 years, and he graduated on top of his class. He was deeply influenced by the philosopher known as John Locke and the scientist known as Isaac Newton, which I know many of us have heard of. He eventually became a pastor of a church at Northampton and played a significant role in the Christian revival movement. At the end of the day, he ended up becoming a university president. There are certain quotes that are attributed to this man, and some of them I'm going to quote for us to know the thinking of this man and what drove his life. One of those quotes goes like this: of all the knowledge that we can ever obtain, the knowledge of God and the knowledge of ourselves are the most important. This kind of knowledge does not come like that. It comes from reflection, it comes from meditation, and it also comes by affirmation. Another quote attributed to him is this: God's purpose for my life was that I have a passion for God's glory, and that I have a passion for my joy in that glory. And these two passions are one. This man left a very interesting legacy when we looked at his lineage of about over 1,400 descendants. I want to just read some of the achievements that his children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren achieved. One of them became a US vice president. One of them was a dean of law school. One was a dean of a medical school. 3 of them became US senators. 3 of them became governors. 3 of them became mayors. 13 of them became college presidents. 30 of them became judges. 60 of them became doctors. 65 became professors. 75 joined the military as military officers. 80 of them became public office holders. About 100 of them were clergymen, and about 285 college graduates came through his loins. These are the results and achievements of the man who advised himself. And if you advise yourself, you also have the capacity to replicate same. Why not advise yourself through this same process and have quiet moments of reflection, meditation, and affirmation? My advice to you today is stop following the trend and advise yourself, because you are your best advisor.